This is impressive. This a collection of people, of leaders, of partners, of allies, of friends. And it is our great privilege, and I mean that most sincerely, that you've joined us to celebrate 35 years of the Elizabeth Glaser Pediatric AIDS Foundation. What Elizabeth Glaser started with the help of her two friends, Susie Zegan and Susan De Laurentiis, is nothing less than a global movement and a voice of conscience around kids and HIV and AIDS. Elizabeth was the first advocate around children and HIV and AIDS. And I think everyone in this room knows exactly why. She lost her daughter, she was ill, Jake was infected. We take that early calling and that spirit of the sense of the fight that Elizabeth brought to bear. We take that very seriously. We call ourselves, describe ourselves as a mission-based organization. That's not an idle thing. We believe it to our core. There is a mission to be accomplished. And we've made tremendous strides towards that mission. But my goodness, we are not nearly close enough, even after 35 years. I want to recognize several people in the room, some individuals. I want to recognize a couple of groups from ECPAF. And then we're going to be very brief because we want to keep the spotlight on our two awardees. I don't know if she's quite tucked in yet, but Congresswoman Barbara Lee, even if she's not here, I'm going to say her name first. Congresswoman Jenniffer González-Colón. I know the Congresswoman is here because we chatted. Thank you very much for being here. Dr. Nkengasong, PEPFAR Ambassador, if you could just put hands up when I call your name. Dr. Atul Gawande, Assistant Administrator for Global Health from USAID. I don't know if Atul, I haven't seen him, so he may not have arrived yet, but we're expecting him. I also haven't seen Lois Hayes. Lois, are you here? Assistant Secretary for Global Health at Health and Human Services. Dr. Jonathan Merman from CDC and other representatives of CDC. I also haven't seen Alice Albright yet, but I wanted to call her out, the head of the Millennium Challenge Corporation. And then I don't know how to, what the going title is for this gentleman. So I'm just gonna settle with Dr. Fauci. Dr. Fauci just works, right? Colleagues, friends, there are many more of you that I could easily recognize. But thank you very much for being here. Most importantly, thank you for your partnership, the advice, the counsel, the encouragement. People work incredibly hard, and still, UNAIDS has to remind us that kids are at about half of kids are on treatment. It just tells us so much about how much more of a fight that we have. It also encourages us that the new PEPFAR strategy, released by Dr. Nkengasong in December, specifically calls out children as a priority population. I'll say another word about that in just a moment. I want to turn to the ECPAF peeps for a second as well. First, Board of Directors. I'm not going to go name by name, just, I got it, because it's our board chair and Jack, and so. Jack Leslie is a board chair. Other board members, please just put up your hand. Jake? Where's Jake?
Back there.
Jake Glaser, Elizabeth's son, is here. Country directors from a dozen countries where ECPAF is working. Country directors, please put up your hands. I do that also so that you can find and I strongly encourage, whether it's board members, whether it's Jake, whether it's the country directors, or our EGPAF ambassadors, you won't regret. Get 2 glasses of wine, give them wine, and ask them about their work. You won't forget it. They're remarkable, remarkable people. Also, and I want to get the wording right, the Pediatric AIDS Foundation Fellows and Scientists. Those early fellows, can you put up your hands? Check this out. 20 years ago, the early EGPAF leaders had the wit to make fellowship grants available so that emerging scientists would focus on pediatric HIV. Who does that anymore? 20 years from now, it's going to pay off in terms of the research that they're doing, the department that they're heading. I just am so impressed by the forethought of that and the fact that it worked out as well as it did in terms of the leaders that were influenced by that early financial support. I just want to say and emphasize, we are particularly at EGPAF appreciative of the U.S. government's singular leadership around HIV and AIDS. There is nobody else on the planet that has done what the United States. I'm not a born flag waver. By God, what the United States government and the United States taxpayer and a lot of smart people have done around PEPFAR is for the ages. It is, even with one of the most popular and successful global health programs in the United States, the most. When Dr. Fauci says it's the point of greatest pride in his career, I mean, that's something. The whole thing is something. And what we've accomplished, even though we have so much more to do for kids, what we've accomplished simply would not have been possible without PEPFAR. It's also why with kids, you let your guard down, you turn away. When you don't have a cure or a vaccine, guess what's going to happen? New infections and so on. And I'm going to just reiterate the importance of the new PEPFAR strategy, including pediatrics, because that second 50% that we have to accomplish is going to be possible by all of us, agencies, partners, allies, others I haven't mentioned, pulling together. For those of you, and there are a few people in the room that knew Elizabeth personally, you know or may remember she had a fondness, capital F, fondness, for celebrating milestones, sometimes big milestones, sometimes smaller milestones. And she had a couple of particular ways of doing that. We really value those traditions and those routines. And so I wanted to ask Jake if you would please come up and propose a toast in the manner and in respect of not just these good people, but your good mother. Jake.
Thank you, Chip. I think, can I get a shot of tequila from the bar, please? And there's a reason to that. For those of you that don't know, there's a reason. For those of you that do know, you know. Wow, I mean, first of all, thank you. 35 years. What this represents is beyond myself, beyond all of us in this room. It's global. The impact that we've had since then to now astonishes me every single minute of the experience of my life, every second and every breath that I take. To sit here to see these colors, I don't know if these flowers were planned in this way, but this is Ariel to a T. So I want to thank everyone for your commitment, your effort, and your tireless love and compassion that you've shared with the world through this work. So my mom, she liked to party. She was a fun woman. Danced, tequila was her favorite, and at any moment in time, when any celebratory experience needed to happen and we had to make a statement, it was a shot of tequila, and it was jumping in the pool with all of our clothes on. And that's how she chose to express herself. She loved to share that if you wanted to make change in the world, you had to have fun while doing it. And so I encourage all of you, as a part of this family and beyond, to live life through love, have fun, express yourself, be bright, be excited for what's to come, because together we will accomplish this mission and take it far beyond creating impact in this world. So to all of you, to 35 years, to our leadership, to everyone on the ground, I love you. Thank you for carrying on our family vision, our family mission, because you are a part of this family. I love you. And here's the 35 years.
It must be nice to be young enough to have a shot of tequila. 6:30 in the evening.
I have to go speak at a class for Dr. Ye.
You'll be better for it. You'll be better
I
for
need
it.
one more.
I really want to move us to our honorees. I understand Congresswoman Lee is here. Fantastic. There you are. I want to introduce a very special person who's going to speak about the two Congresswomen. She's an EGPAF board member. She's an EGPAF ambassador. Josephine Nabukenya. In ways figurative and literal, Josephine grew up with EGPAF. And I dare to say EGPAF has grown up with Josephine, including because of the wisdom and leadership she imparts, most recently as a board member. In so many ways, Josephine represents the past, the present, and the future work of EGPAF. And so, Josephine, if you would, please speak to our two honorees, the Congresswomen.
Thank you so much, Chief, and thank you everyone for being here for this special occasion. My name is Josephine Nabukenya. I'm from Uganda, Kampala, and I lead a team at Miles of Smiles Foundation. I am an EGPAF ambassador as well as a member of the board of directors. In all those roles, and even so many more that I've not shared, I share my story. That is the biggest component of my entire work and life. And I share my story to bring hope. I share my story to bring light on the issues that affect people living with HIV. Most especially the children, because we can easily forget them and we can also easily ignore them in this global fight. Personally, I do understand the long-lasting impact of programs that prioritize children because I was born with HIV, so I know that journey from then to now. I also understand the long impact that can be created from programs that are improving the quality of life of children that are living with HIV and AIDS. But it is so sad that up to now, we have not prioritized them much as we should have. And that is why we see so many numbers of them dying, still dying from healthy inequalities that we actually have the power to change. We have the resources to change. We have everything it takes currently to ensure that no child is born with HIV or those that are born with HIV have access to quality care. In 2005, I had the opportunity to share my story before the US Congress people. And when I shared my story, trust me, up to now, as a beneficiary, I can testify that a lot has changed from that journey to now. But also, a lot still has to be done, right? even double the efforts for us to ensure that we reach all the targets or even surpass the targets that we have put in place. Therefore, I want to let you know that if we are to achieve an AIDS-free generation, we have to ensure that we involve children, we meaningfully involve them in whatever we are doing. We have to ensure that we put them at the forefront, because we cannot have them mixed up in all these age brackets, otherwise we lose it. That is why even up to now we still have so many of them not identified. We still have so many of them not on treatment. We still have so many of them failing on the current treatment options available. Achieving the AIDS-free generation will not take only an individual in this place. It will take all of us in this room, but also all of us that are not in this room. We have to ensure that we work together. We have to ensure that we work in a very collaborative manner for us to ensure that we do not forget them, as well as we do not ignore their needs. With all that said, today we will have to honor the bipartisan collaboration and leadership of the Congresswomen in this particular building. We want to honor the leadership of the Congressional HIV and AIDS Caucus and its co-chair, Congresswoman Barbara Lee from California and Jenniffer from Puerto Rico. Congresswoman Lee has been the HIV and AIDS community's strongest champion since she joined the Congress in 1999. She has been at the forefront of every major piece of legislation critical to the HIV response, including PEPFAR. Her contribution cannot be overstated, and trust me, here at ACPAF, we know that without her support, the success we are celebrating currently would not have been possible. When Congresswoman González joined Congress in 2017, she also joined Congress Lee on issues to ensure that there is bipartisan realized in this matter. Because of her leadership, new members of the Congress have now taken it up, as she has been the example and she has led. Therefore, they have taken it up to do as she has been doing. Both Congresswomen have had a very good fight to ensure that we end AIDS, especially in children. And they know, just as we know, that this focus, this goal is not yet to be achieved now. We therefore acknowledge your leadership, and we are confident that with your support, we know that the US will exist to ensure that we finish this fight. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Congresswomen Lee and González to receive ACPAF's Heroes Awards. Thank you so much.
First of all, let me thank you, Josephine. Thank you for being such a leader on so many fronts. But it's because of you that we do this work. And it's so good to see you. And it's a reminder of the fact that we will achieve an AIDS-free generation by 2030. No doubt. And to my good friend and colleague, Congresswoman Jenniffer González-Colón. You know, when Jenniffer first came to Congress, I was thinking about how are we going to keep making this a bipartisan effort? You know what's going on right now, right? I called her, we met, and she said yes right away. She knew that this was about saving lives, saving children, making sure that everyone had the opportunity to live the dream. And she knew what it meant to continue in a bipartisan fashion. And I'm so proud of the work you're doing, because I know you get a lot of stuff too. I get a lot of stuff, but that's okay. 80% of the members of Congress today were not here when we authorized the Global Fund and PEPFAR and the Office of Vulnerable Children, all of the initiatives that we've taken People weren't here, members of Congress weren't here to vote on it, and so they don't know the importance of what we're doing. And they don't know that we together saved over 25 million lives. And they don't quite understand why it's necessary to not only have level funding, but to increase funding for all of our HIV and AIDS initiatives and global health initiatives. And so, yeah, we've got to do that. If we're going to get to 2030. And so Jenniffer has been one who's been beating the drum and educating people. And it's been remarkable to see the bipartisanship continue, even though we have a few bumps in the road right now. Talked to Senator Frist, and I have the privilege to talk with President Bush and other Republicans who were here in the day. And they're helping also to continue with this bipartisan spirit, because a lot is at stake this year. And I know all of you, Chip, all of the Elizabeth Glaser Pediatric AIDS Foundation, all of you know what's at stake. Dr. Fauci, I'm so glad to see you. Boy, you look great, and thank you. This man early on taught me a lot. And it has been through a roller coaster ride with many generations. But you know, Dr. Fauci, because of you, you have saved so many lives. Thank you. And let me see, is Dr. Nsingh here in St. Where are you? John, Dr. John. Is he? Yeah, I want to thank you for your steadiness. I was talking to some people today in Ghana, and they talked about how proud they were that he is leading our global health initiatives. And so I just want to say thank you once again. And really, I'm just here to, you know, this award is very special to me, but this is about my work, what I'm doing, my mission, my commitment to making sure that every child in this world, every human being in this world has access to making sure that they understand what's necessary and that we fund what's necessary to achieve an AIDS-free generation by 2030. And so receiving this award is really very humbling to me, but just know this is another moment where I'm recommitting myself to fight the good fight. Fight the good fight. In spite of the challenges, that we're going to reauthorize all of our PEPFAR initiatives. We want to make sure that we just extend the date, right? You don't want anyone messing with it, right? So thank you. I accept this award on all of you, all of those who have lived, and all of those who came before us who didn't have the privilege and opportunity to live because we were behind the curve in what we should have done early on. So thank you again so much for it.
I need to say that I'm very proud to work with Barbara Lee. In that meeting, when she called me, I just arrived in Congress, and she was direct, she was giving me pointers, and she knew what she was talking, and that's what I love about people, cutting the bullshit and going directly to the point. And she was doing that, and I want to say thank you, because you've been a leader. Every time there's something regarding HIV or AIDS, Barbara Lee is at the forefront of that fight. And I'm proud to join you and to follow your steps all over the way. Thank you, Barbara. We're talking about bipartisanship. Who can even thought that that can be still happening in Congress? I think Barbara and I are a testament that that can be done if you really want to. And this issue is not about people, it's not about the United States, it's not about anyone around the world, it's about health. This is a health issue, and we need to address it like that. I want to thank Elizabeth Glaser Pediatric AIDS Foundation and CEO Charles Lyons for this honor that is not for me. It's for all the people that are fighting this, that are educating other members, that are educating people around the world that we need to take action on this issue. And as we celebrate 35 years of to elevate and the outstanding advocacy that this organization has brought to elevate the fight against HIV and AIDS in the United States and around the world, I believe that this is a great opportunity as well to double down that fight. And your support and leadership are vital for the work that we do in Congress. I was telling him before I joined here that you're the one drafting, you're the one proposing, you're the one making the research, you're the one calling the shots of what is needed. What we do in Congress is trying to convey that message, to fund the research, and to approve whatever laws are necessary so the private sector, so doctors and governments can actually lead that fight around the world. And bipartisanship at times can be a rare occurrence in politics. But let me tell you, I think this is the only way to get things done. The reason you elect politicians are supposed to get things done. So in that sense, for me, it has been crystal clear. I began public service when I was 25 years old at the state level as a state representative, and he was doing it in a bipartisan way. I'm the first female representing the island of Puerto Rico in Congress, and the youngest to do so. And sometimes I cannot vote in the floor of the House. So if I want to do things and I get things done, I need to work in a bipartisan way. This is the same issue for AIDS, for HIV. The first thing I did when Barbara literally commanded me to do the co-chair this caucus was doing roundtable with all HIV organizations in Puerto Rico, hearing directly from them, foundations, government, health officials, researchers, academy, knowing directly what was impacting them and their recommendations in terms of what's happening in Puerto Rico should not be different from any other state, territory, or other country. So now I do have a task force for HIV and AIDS. It's helping me every day to understand many of the issues that for you guys they're common sense, but for many other people they're not. Because nobody will fight for this unless they're being touched directly by someone having this disease. So I work in a bipartisan way. I think HIV should be fought in the same manner. And at the time, in Puerto Rico, we got the 12th highest rate of new HIV diagnosis in the nation. Many people are not aware of that. Close to 50,000 cases have been reported during the AIDS epidemic, with 59% of those resulting in death. And the latest data available, and we can talk about the data, we were just discussing that a few minutes ago, finds that close to 16,000 people currently live with HIV on my island. The numbers in child are different, so not every country have the same data regarding how many kids will have that. We need to try to collect better data in that sense. But people living with HIV should have the same opportunities to aspire to a greater life. And for all these reasons, and as Puerto Rico only representative in Congress, I'm proudly serving as your co-chair in this caucus, and I want to say thank you for all the good work this foundation and everybody here, the ambassadors, doctors, researchers, family members are doing here for you. Your advocacy, your example, your testament that things can be done are the motor for all of us to do things and make things happen. I want to finish just saying that PEPFAR is one of the greatest accomplishments of the United States. I agree on that. President George Bush said in his 2003 State of the Union address, the PEPFAR is an opportunity to do so much for so many, and we need to follow on those steps. So thank you, all of you, for the opportunity.
Over here. you.
I'm Jack Leslie. I have the privilege of chairing the board, and I was told to close and be brief, so I intended to. I want to say that today was a very, very special day for all of us on the board. I'm looking at Senator Dodd, who's along with me been on the board for a long time, and I'm told this is the first time that we've had collected all of the country directors and regional directors and all of the ambassadors and the board all in the same place, and we were able to spend the whole day. And for us, it was a really, really meaningful experience to be able to understand what's really happening on the front line. So I thank all of you who are friends and allies, but I especially thank Chip and his leadership team and all of you who are working so hard every day in Africa on this disease. I've been told by a couple of folks who are friends in public health, and I mentioned this I think to Dr. Fauci, that there's a little PTSD going on after the pandemic. I think there are a lot of people who have been tired by this, and we have to kind of pick ourselves up. And if we're going to achieve this AIDS-free generation, then we have to carry forward. And I thank all of you because all of you are doing that every day. So thank you all. Have a wonderful evening.